So, John, I want to get started before this energy drink that I just had wears off.
Oh, no. What energy can you... It's not a sponsor of ours, is it?
If we had a sponsor, I don't know if I'd consider this a good one.
Okay. Well, it's an energy drink nonetheless. So it
is an energy drink.
Can we count on energetic work by you then?
Probably not.
Come on.
No, I had it about 3 hours ago.
Oh.
So it should be sticking in, but it's not. Hold on. Oh, it won't let me change settings while we're recording. And right now I'm listening to myself. That's really kind of off-putting.
You sound wonderful, Nick.
Well, thanks. I think so too, except I'm hearing myself, so I'm hearing an echo of myself, and it's making me talk a lot slower for some reason.
Well, you sound good once. I can only imagine you sound marvelous twice.
Oh, I'm sure I do.
Yes.
Exactly. So anyway, John, how are you doing today?
I am fine. Thank you for asking, Nick.
Good. And how do you feel about energy drinks? Because I actually don't feel very good about drinking them. I'm kind of not scared of them. I just think that they're not necessarily all that healthy. And everyone knows that I'm a coffee person and I love coffee.
Yep.
But for some reason today, I took a couple sips of coffee and maybe it was just the kind I had because it was hotel swill. But it was not, it just didn't sasatisfy.
Okay, we're coming back to the energy drink, but I have to jump on the hotel swill bandwagon. Okay. Because Lisa and I are actually in a hotel. I know you find that hard to believe. And one of those, a Town Place Suite, and I stay at them quite often because I like the little mini kitchen.
Right.
They do coffee with an actual, like a drip coffee maker in the room.
Okay.
And I know they have the tendency to be a little weak, so I use two of the filter things, the filter packs.
Okay.
That have the coffee already in it. So I stack one on top of the other to get stronger coffee.
Nice.
Well, it's two of us, so I did not quite half a pot, and it was terrible. It looked like piss. It was really nasty, and I gave Lisa a cup this morning, and I had one, and I said, "Honey, I'm sorry, this is a little bit weak." And she looks at it, and she's like, "Oh, ick." So hotel swill, I'm on board. I'm packing.
Well, I stayed at a Town Place last week, and they actually had a Keurig in the room.
At a Town Place?
At a Town Place, yeah.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, it was a brand new one.
All right, well, you're going to have to share with me the locale and all of that because whether I need to be in that town or not, I think that's the Town Place Suite. I'm
trying to think where it was.
Oh, you're as bad as I am. Where are you? I'm not really sure.
It was somewhere in Kentucky.
Okay. I'm somewhere in Kentucky right now.
Are you? I'm sorry.
I am. Well, no, it's fine. I like Kentucky.
I do too. It's a very pretty state. It's where I drove through it today. So.
Oh, so you have made a pathway. You've blazed the trail. You're Lewis and Clark.
I am Lewis and Clark. They call me Lewis Cubic and Clark Nicholas.
Very nice. Paving a trail through Kentucky.
So what are you doing in Kentucky this week?
Oh, I've just got some follow-up stuff. I was at a conference earlier in the week, and you and I chatted a little bit about that. And now I just had travel scheduled at the tail end of it. So I'm knocking that out, and we're flying out bright and early tomorrow morning to go home.
Very nice. I actually had my wife's car over the week because she needed an oil change, and that's kind of how we do it. And it just saves her time. And since I'm always at dealerships, I just go get the oil change.
That's
smart. And I have to say, because I think I told you this before, I traded in my car for her new car. Yep. So I've been driving her old car.
Which is...
And it's just a little silver POS.
Yes.
And so I've been spoiled this week because I actually have Apple CarPlay. It's a smooth riding SUV, and I can throw stuff in there, and it actually fits. It was just a wonderful ride. I almost wanted to drive more, which is hard for me to say because I already drive a lot.
I know. Did you take the long way to the hotel or something like that?
I took the long way on the way up. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I could, but no, on the way home, I actually, and this is something I wanted to ask you about too, because I don't know if you experienced this with your son, but I actually went and met with my wife and my daughter's teacher. It wasn't a student teacher, or a parent teacher conference. It was Peyton. A couple of years ago, we actually had her tested for ADD, and she does have a little bit of ADD, which you and I have talked about before. Everyone has a touch of ADD at some point. Yeah, but she struggles a little bit in school, just trying to pay attention, and we don't believe, unless it's absolutely necessary, 100% in medication. So it's not something that we've ever really considered, and we're still not going to do that. But the one great thing about her school is that they actually offer some accommodations. If you go in and you talk, they call it life. They don't call it, I don't even remember what special ed. It's not special ed. It's called life.
Oh, interesting.
So pretty much since the very beginning of school for a lot of these kids, and they've all stayed in the same class. It's a very small school. They've had some accommodations for other students, so it's not a weird thing. And they actually explain to all the students up front that some students learn at a different pace, so they have to make quote unquote accommodations. So we went to meet with the life teacher and my daughter's teacher and the principal, who's also our neighbor, and good friends of ours. So we went and we talked about some accommodations that we could meet or have for Peyton. So she can really just kind of get ahead, and she doesn't have trouble learning. She doesn't have trouble with anything. Her biggest issue is focus and being able to focus for a long period of time. For example, the teacher brought in a math test. It was a 5-page math test, which,
oh my goodness,
why are you giving a fourth grader a 5-page math test anyway? But she only got maybe 2 or 3 wrong out of all the ones that she did finish. The problem is she didn't finish the entire test.
Sure.
Because she couldn't focus. So she could focus for a short period of time. She gets everything right. So it's not that she can't learn and that she's not smart. She's not bright. She is young for her age, for her class. So, and she keeps up academically just fine. It's just she needs some accommodations for time. All of that to say, one interesting thing that I found when we were in this meeting, and later on our neighbor, the principal, actually said this exact same thing, is I'm going, that was me at her age. And they would say something else. I'm like, I did that when I was her age. And, wow. So the principal said, while we were walking out, she said, at least one parent and every one of these meetings that we have says, that was me when I was that age. I wish I had that. I wish I knew that when I was that age.
Can you share?
I said, that was me.
Can you share any of the examples where you said that?
Say that again.
Can you share any of the examples where you said that was me?
Math. Math is a perfect example.
Okay.
It's not that I didn't know math. I just got so bored with it and I just didn't want to do it. And I got overwhelmed by it that I just started looking out the window and daydreaming. I was a daydreamer, and that's exactly what my daughter is. She's a daydreamer. If it's not challenging enough, she's off in her own la la land. And I didn't find that out until I was in 11th grade. In 11th grade, I got a new counselor. I may have shared this story before. I got a new counselor at school, and we all had to meet with him to set up our classes for the following year. And this counselor looked at me and said, Nick, I think you're bored. I'm putting you in all AP classes next year.
Huh.
And it was the first time ever I was on the honor roll.
No kidding.
Yeah. But it took until 11th grade. My daughter, we've been talking about it now for the last 2 years, and this is the first year we're actually going to do something about it, but it's 4th grade. And I think it's much better to catch it now and fix it than it is until 11th grade, where now she has a better chance of getting a better GPA, which is something I suffered from And I wish I hadn't, moving on in my life and on in my career. I could have done a few other things that I wanted to if I would have known that way ahead of time.
Sure. Yeah, good point.
Did you ever experience that with Michael?
Well, I mean, we had our own challenges with Michael, who is also, much like Peyton, a very intelligent person. And anyone who listened to our podcast when Peyton was our guest, you can just tell how sharp she is, because she is. And Michael was much the same way, but he had issues with completing homework or schoolwork even.
Yep.
And it was middle school primarily, and maybe at the beginning of high school, but I don't think so. I think it was primarily middle school. And he would just not turn something in and knew it was due and would get an F on it because he never turned anything in. And we questioned him about it. And there was game playing and say, oh yeah, well, I forgot, or, something like that, which he didn't. And
we get that now in fourth grade.
Well, and I think, I think it's a phase. At least it was with Michael. Happily, one that ended. But yeah, we weren't sure how to deal with it because it was out of character for him.
Sure. Yeah, with Peyton, I think it was last week, because I had come home, so it was like a Thursday night or something, and it took her 3 hours to do her homework.
Wow.
3 hours. And this is in fourth grade. And even the teacher said that you shouldn't be taking 3 hours to do fourth graders' homework. An hour is too much. And she was absolutely right. But it was just constant back and forth fighting because she just wouldn't focus. But at the beginning of the week, she did her homework in 15 minutes. And it was the same amount of homework. It wasn't any less or any more. And it's tired. It's just needing to focus. And she got the stuff that was, I wouldn't say easy, but it was stuff she was interested in. So reading assignments and science, anything like that, she'll get done lickety split. But when it comes to math,
and do really well with it, I'm sure. I think that is a valid point, that it's really how they learn, and that's the part that can be adjusted or should be adjusted. It has nothing to do with intelligence,
right?
Clearly, and sometimes we should be better collectively as adults at helping them learn, not necessarily so it kowtows to them wholeheartedly, but rather to help them learn more and to learn better and to learn more effectively and efficiently. And I think there have to be techniques to help with that. It's when you get out into the world does not change itself for you.
Right.
And however, if it's a matter of learning, which is obviously foundational, I think we need to collectively just get better at providing that foundation.
I think part of that too is as we get older, we understand how we learn. So we adapt ourselves to learn in a specific way.
Yep.
Kids don't have
just
that.
Maturity. Exactly.
It's maturity, but kids don't have that ability.
Exactly. And they shouldn't. And it's putting too much on their plate. But sometimes getting to know how you learn yourself. And for us as adults, we hopefully by this time have figured it out.
Right. Well, and here's another thing. As our principal friend said, at least one of the parents always identifies with the issues the student's having. So if we all go into it knowing that our child or our children are going to model themselves after us in certain ways, it's not going to be completely the same, but in various ways. And if we already know how we learn, then we should be able to help adapt them to learning because we have experience in that. I don't think we as a society quite do that yet. And I, not to get political or anything, I don't necessarily think it is political, but I often joke with my wife, I think we should just pick up and move to Finland because they seem to have it right. I would have learned really well if I was in the Finnish school system.
Well, don't they call it finishing school? Anyway,
Nicely done.
Well, I had to do something because I don't mind telling you. I think some people have logged into PoddiMouths and gone, "What the hell happened to PoddiMouths?" We're talking all philosophically and brilliantly.
We are.
I mean, I think,
but that's what you'll get with PoddiMouths.
I think people are surprised that we're this intelligent. I think we need to back it off a little bit.
We will. We'll get there. Don't worry. I said it was the energy drink. On the energy drink, it said, "Power your mind and your body."
Is that what it said?
It did. Yeah.
So what I need to know then, obviously, and all of us listeners need to know, is it powering your body?
Not right now. My body is pretty much done.
Oh, okay. Well, I
don't really think it's powering my mind right now. I'm exhausted, but
which is the perfect time to do a PoddiMouths episode.
Right, exactly. Well, we've talked about it before. We have to find little time at the end of the workday to kind of squeeze these things in, and if we
how we could avoid that
or anything.
Tell everybody how we could avoid doing that.
Well, if they hop on to Patreon, we have a patron.
I know, but don't say his or her
I'm not
name.
going to, but I'm so excited that we have a patron.
Yes. And I think that person was paving the way for others. And I'm excited about that. I'm excited about it. And it's not because we are not happily, we are financially stable. And it's fun to do these because we do them for fun. And we've never done them for that. But, the more you do them, and we're episode 34 today, which is a testament to your patience, Nick.
I was going to say the same thing about you.
I said it first, though, so I win. But you get to some point thinking, wouldn't it be cool if we could devote more time and more energy to PoddiMouths, and maybe it wouldn't. Maybe they'd suck if we, didn't have 100 other things going on. But
I tell you what, even if we didn't stop what we're doing now, we do it the same way. But we made enough that we could hire an editor or a producer that takes
just a hot office girl,
or or someone to take selfies all day long and post them on Instagram.
Yes, with the duck face.
That way we would have a little bit more time, and we could that would devote a lot more energy, or we would be able to devote a lot more energy to being creative on the microphone,
where
we belong, because we have a face for radio.
Okay,
but speaking of, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you did the segue quickly, so do it.
No, I was going to say, speaking of, I had the opportunity to play recently in a golf tournament. It was a dealership of one of my old dealerships from a long time ago. They sponsored a cancer research golf tournament every year, and it's pretty much all automotive professionals that are there, different vendors, different OEMs, their reps and things like that get to play in.
So it's a pretty big event.
It's a pretty big event. I think there were 150 people or 150 groups.
Oh, wow.
I don't remember. I mean, it was massive.
Awesome.
But anyway, I decided to wear my PoddiMouths polo.
Yes, your PoddiMouths polo. That's awesome.
So I got two very distinct, actually three, but the third one I'm just going to toss out because, I got a lot of people that looked at the shirt and kind of did that dog tilt to their face when they were reading it. Going, okay. Yeah. They didn't really talk to me. They just looked at the shirt. But I had two very distinct reactions when people saw the shirt that actually talked to me about it. The first one is, that's a podcast. I have a podcast. I've had one for X number of years, and we just talk shop about podcasting. Then the other reaction was people that said, "Oh man, I love podcasts. I want to listen to that podcast. I've always thought about starting a podcast, so I'm just listening to as many as I can. Where can I find you guys?"
Yeah,
so
awesome.
It was two very distinct reactions and I absolutely had a blast. And the group I was playing in, every single time something like that happened, because they were standing right next to me. Obviously, I was on the golf course. They'd look at me and I said, "That's exactly why I'm wearing this shirt."
That's awesome.
Yeah, so it was pretty cool. So I think we got a few listeners out of it, And I want to give a shout out to those people who I don't know, I don't have all their names because there was quite a few of them, but thanks for listening in if you are listening. And I hope you enjoy our podcast about everything and absolutely nothing.
It is truly about everything and nothing.
Yep.
The polo, and if you haven't seen it, then you posted a picture, didn't you?
I think somewhere I did, yeah.
Yeah, because I think Lisa put one on or put it on.
I didn't post that picture. I posted the picture of me wearing it in your hotel room.
That's what it was. Did you have pants on?
I didn't.
Excellent. Yeah, that's great. I remember the maid screamed when she walked in.
And then she saw the money on the bed and she was fine.
And she was fine because I always leave money on the bed for the maid. Here's $5. Don't scream at Nick.
I think in that case it took 20.
Well, I think she thought you wanted something else.
Probably.
No, I mean like extra coffee.
Oh, I thought you meant a shirt. She wanted my shirt.
So
she was a big fan.
It's not a huge logo. I mean, so it's not, like
no,
shouting
it's tasteful.
at people. I think it is tasteful, but you essentially and effectively were a very tiny billboard.
I was a walking golf club swinging billboard.
Did you play well?
No, that's only like my second time playing this year. I went out and hit balls on the range quite a bit this year. Not quite a bit, but more than I have in the past. But I haven't played very often.
And you didn't do well?
No, we took 20th. We weren't last, but we definitely
were first. Like 150 or more?
Yeah, it must have been less than that because we were 20th out of, I don't remember. We were in the middle of the pack somewhere.
Okay, all right.
There were a lot of people tied for 21st, though. There were like 6 or 7 groups tied for 21st.
And so it was obviously do they call that a scramble? Yeah.
Yep.
That's excellent. And a shotgun.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
All of that.
A lot of fun.
Okay, so I have to ask you. You mentioned energy drink. Have you ever tried 5 Hour Energy?
I have. I didn't like what it did to me.
Oh, okay.
Which was absolutely nothing.
Oh, well, I guess that would be it. I do like them, and inexplicably I don't drink them very often, but if I'm driving a distance and I get sleepy, that's what I always go for.
Yeah, I for some reason I don't have to go to the bathroom as much if I have an energy drink versus having a cup of coffee. I don't know what that is because I mean they both have caffeine in it, and caffeine.
Yeah, it could be a chemical thing.
The diuretic of it.
I don't know that, but it sounds feasible.
If I say it with enough confidence, it's real.
Yeah. And as you know, caffeine is the diuretic.
That's right. I don't know if that's true, but I did stay at Holiday Inn Express last night.
Wow, very
not
nice.
A sponsor.
No, you
and plus
didn't.
we always stay at Marriott.
You're a big liar. Yes, I know
not
better.
A sponsor
because you're a points whore.
What now? Sorry,
I
kept talking over you.
You're a points whore.
I'm a points whore. I am happy to be a points whore.
Me too.
They ask you when you walk into a Marriott if you want because you're ambassador and I'm almost ambassador, but they always ask you, do you want a market item or do you want points? I always say points.
Everybody who's at a relatively high level of loyalty with them wants points. Exactly. Yeah. So,
I think of it this way, and please, those who are our employers, please shut off your ears for a second. I figure I have a stipend. I can pay for the market items with the stipend because it's still not coming out of my pocket.
Well, and I don't think that's anything that employers would be angry or sad about. I think what happens, though, and what happens at this particular Town Place Suite where I'm staying, they gave me the points automatically, and they said, plus we'd like you to have a market item.
Well, that's nice of them.
Yeah, so that was kind of cool, I thought. And I don't think, now that I think about it, I don't think I took the market item, so I'm going to go down there and take something.
There you go.
Without them knowing it. No, I'm just kidding. I'll tell.
I rarely do market item anyways because they don't usually have anything healthy there. And
well, no, I'll usually grab
with our status, we get free water.
Yeah, I usually will just grab a water, and that's. I mean, I don't know if that counts as a market item. They could be gleefully.
They usually does it. Usually they give you free water.
I get that sometimes, but not all the time. So I don't.
Then you're staying at the wrong Marriott's.
Maybe I am. Perhaps I need to go to yours and follow you around Kentucky.
Yep. I know all the good Marriotts in Kentucky. Actually, you want to know, and really maybe, John, one of us should reach out to Marriott because we do talk about them a lot. Maybe they should start sponsoring us.
One would think.
But I have to say my favorite Marriott is actually a Courtyard, which it's hard for me to say because Courtyard as a whole is kind of the last on my list. I'm not a huge fan of Courtyard, but my favorite Marriott thus far is the Courtyard by Marriott in Cape Girardeau, Missouri.
Oh, okay.
It's in an old bank building.
It's historic. Cool.
It's a fairly new hotel, but it's a historic building. And they've changed a lot of the offices on all the different floors to hotel rooms. And they're all different shapes. Every time I go into one, it's a different layout. And the ceilings are tall and it's really thick concrete walls. Part of it is actually an old garage in the back too, and those are really neat. It's a beautiful hotel and very well done. And it's also right across the street from a really cool coffee shop and a really cool rooftop restaurant and bar. And then right across the other street, because it's on a corner, is a really cool candy and chocolate shop. So I never really have to go far if I'm not going to a dealership.
Wow.
Yeah, it's swanky.
And you said Cape Girardeau,
Missouri.
Yep,
right on the river.
So mine, and as you're talking Courtyards, I'm like you. I don't seek them out necessarily. Not that I dislike them or anything, but they don't do the free breakfast anymore. Right.
And that's probably the best. I don't dislike them whatsoever, but I really do like the free breakfasts.
I like to have. I seldom eat the free breakfast, but I like to be able to if I want to.
Yes.
It's great after I hit the gym or something and then can go grab a coffee, throw a couple of eggs in a bowl and come up to my room or whatever. Yep. But talking about Courtyards, my favorites, Salt River, Scottsdale, Marriott Courtyard, Salt River.
Okay.
It's it's newish. They've got a great pool and it's, of course, Scottsdale. So weather is fabulous most of the time. And you've stayed, I think, at the one Seattle on Pioneer Square, right?
Yes, that one's a really cool one. So I would put that as number 2 behind the one in Cape.
Yeah. Okay. I checked the one in Cape Girardeau. That's very cool. I'd be interested in checking that out. I like the unique ones like that.
Yeah.
There is one that's a regular Marriott downtown Milwaukee. And it's probably 7 years ago, I suppose they built it, but it's out of an old existing building. And oh gosh, it's beautiful. They have this soaring staircase when you walk in, and the rooms are kind of cool, a little bit boutique-y, if you will, so a little smaller than some. But what a beautiful hotel and very cool, very tastefully done, I thought.
Very cool.
Yeah, so that was good. And the last one I will say, as we are just loving on Marriott today, you're right, they better become a sponsor, is one I just left in Nashville, and that's the what's the one by the Grand Ole Opry? The Gaylord. Also a Marriott property.
Yes. You actually stayed at the Gaylord Hotel?
I did. And
that's where we stayed on our wedding night.
Oh, how nice. And it is
before the flood.
It's a place like that you would stay for a special occasion. It happened that the conference was there, but it was gorgeous. We were there for 3 nights, and Lisa was with me, and we had a really nice time.
Well, good.
You better be ready to walk because it's. Oh yeah. Oh my gosh.
We've talked about the fact that I used to be a photography teacher.
Yes.
And the school that I taught at is 2 exits down from Opryland.
Oh, cool.
And when we would have whatever photography class, not a studio class, but if we had a class that went out and shot outdoors quite often, if it were rainy or stormy or snowy, we would actually head over to Opryland and the Opry Mills or the Opryland Hotel to go into all of the different areas, because inside of the Opryland Hotel are uh, different settings, different motifs, but it's all kind of an indoor garden, if you will.
Oh, they're massive.
They're massive.
I mean, it's incredible. Uh, it's like you're outdoors. That's how big it is, and they have these massive glass ceilings. And so there was a thunderstorm the day before yesterday, Nick, and we, and inside it's wonderfully air conditioned because it was hot in Nashville, and it was beautiful. And it was unusual though because you still have light coming from outside, and you're hearing this thunderstorm, fully expecting to be caught in the rain when you walk out there because it's so massive. That was in the Delta Island area, if you remember.
Very nice.
Yeah.
So, did you get to go over to the new water park? Go lay in the lazy river?
No, didn't. And it's called Sound Waves, I believe.
Yes.
And it's a cool thing. They offered us a special deal on it just before we arrived, and I opted not to because I knew we wouldn't have a lot of time to be
right. We want to go really bad. We haven't actually experienced it yet. We've taken a tour of it,
cool.
But we haven't gone in or jumped in. But the lazy river looks really impressive.
It does look good. Of course, when you're in the hotel, you see all the ads on the TV channel, and it was quite cool. So maybe next time. But what a wonderful facility.
Maybe we'll do a PoddiMouths episode from the lazy river.
Yeah, I think we should do that, but I can't promise I won't splash you.
I would expect nothing less.
Well, we're going to have to be waterproof then.
I am waterproof.
You are, but not your equipment. And let me rephrase that. Not about the equipment.
I didn't say it was going to sound good.
This sounds like crap. Who are these idiots?
It already sounds like we're underwater half the time anyways.
That's true, but it keeps people guessing where we're broadcasting from.
Exactly.
Yeah, I know. So that was a very a cool hotel. So anybody truly, if you're in the Nashville area, and I wanted to tell you about Opryland too, because we went there.
To the mall?
No, not to the mall, to the Grand Ole Opry.
Oh, okay.
Because there's a show.
Because there's the Opryland Hotel, the Grand Ole Opry
Mall,
which some people get confused because this is where they film the Grand Ole Opry now.
Yeah.
But the Ryman is the original Grand Ole Opry.
Ah, okay. I did not know that nor see it. We were in the one where they do all the filming now.
Right. You're in the Grand Ole Opry. Yeah,
it was very cool. We had great seats. Saw a fun show, and
who'd you see?
Well, it was the Gettys, and I don't know if you have heard of them, but it's Keith and Kristen Getty, and they do a lot of Christian music, and they did an Irish Christmas show. Which seems odd that we were there in August for a Christmas show, but they actually did the filming of the show that they plan to broadcast in December.
Oh, fun!
So it was really cool. We were part of the audience, and
that's really neat. So one thing I wanted to add about Opryland, is that it is one of the most impressive places to go in the Nashville area around Christmas time. They really deck that place out. They deck out all the gardens, and then you go outside and they have this massive area that people from all around Nashville and all around the country will come and look at all the lights, and they'll take horse-drawn carriages through all of the lights and things like that. It's really neat. I'd highly recommend it if you ever get a chance. They also have an outdoor park area where they'll have sledding and bonfires and cocoa things and concerts and things like that out on one of the lawns.
Do they truck the snow in from Minnesota?
Not from Minnesota. They have a snow machine. They make it.
Okay, I do that. I would imagine that's great advice, because I would imagine it's spectacular, and I hope that we have occasion to maybe get down here for that, because I would enjoy it. Just looking at the Gaylord Hotel I can just tell that they overdo it.
Oh yeah.
Just
maybe
because
we can do a Christmas special Potty Mouths
Let's do.
from Opryland, and then we'll go do the Lazy River one right after that.
Yes, that would be weird.
Yes.
But yeah, we could do that.
Yeah. Well, what about us is not weird?
Wow, you caught me not able to respond to an obvious question like that.
It's because I'm not wrong.
You're seldom not wrong, but this might be one of those times when you are not wrong.
I thought I was wrong once, but I found out later I was mistaken.
You were mistaken. Okay, next up, without a topic, noise-canceling headphones.
I need some.
You've had some before? Yes,
I've had some in the past.
Yeah.
And I'm wearing the big bulky ones that I bought, which are really good. And I'm not complaining about them, but they're not noise canceling.
No.
And, I have mixed emotions. So noise canceling while I'm at work or something, or at a coffee shop or somewhere where I need to concentrate and need to focus and I just don't want to hear anything, they're fabulous.
Yeah.
But when I'm doing something like this, or if what's a good example? Talking on the phone or something, and they're supposed to be noise canceling, it backfires. It doesn't work for some reason, or not work correctly. So I miss half the things, maybe because in airline terms, if you're flying in an airplane, there's actually there's two dials. You've got volume, and I think it's called squelch. If I remember correctly, you get that on some walkie-talkies too. You turn the squelch too high, and the microphone constantly keys up, and then you get the background noise and no one can talk. You turn the squelch down too low when you hit the mic to talk, or you do a automatic talk pickup. Then you miss the first part of the word because the squelch is too low and it doesn't pick up quick enough. It's kind of like with noise canceling. If you're talking on the phone, the squelch is turned way low, so people miss half of the conversation that you're saying because it doesn't pick up quick enough.
Yeah, I'm familiar with squelch. They've had it for many, many years. Yes. But I've never had it on my noise canceling headphones.
That's my point. You don't have the squelch; it's automatically set in, and I'm just kind of giving an example of how it works. So if I could adjust that so it could pick up faster, I think it would be different if I use noise canceling during a conversation.
I got it, and I see what you're saying too. Because obviously on a plane, I have never been so thankful for noise canceling headphones as when I wear them on a plane. The crying babies and look, I'm not pointing a finger at parents. We had that too, although Michael was actually really good on planes, but it can happen to anybody. So that's part of the deal.
Oh, sure.
And I think to equip yourself on a plane to combat that stuff that happens.
Exactly. And I remember before I had Peyton, I would always get so frustrated when people brought their kids on and they were crying, and I felt bad for the parents too, but it wasn't until I actually had a kid, and Peyton has always been phenomenal on airplanes. She's never been loud or anything, but even at that, having a kid changes how you feel about crying kids on airplanes. You completely understand.
Yes. In my humble estimation, it's God saying, see?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
See what it was all about. So that's pretty hilarious. So what I really want though is not, and I love noise canceling headphones, but I think we could become really wealthy, or wealthier than you are, because I know you're painfully wealthy already.
Yeah, I'm wealthy. I'm just not rich.
But would be odor canceling nose plugs
to avoid the potty dusting.
Yes.
Yep.
Wouldn't that be awesome?
That's how we're going to get rich.
I know.
We're going to invent those.
Screw the podcast.
Right? No, the podcast. We use podcast for marketing those things.
We need odor canceling nose plugs.
Yep.
And they'd have to look kind of cool too. Could you work on the design?
I'll work on the design or the sign. Both.
The design.
I'll work on both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, and the good part is we don't have a boatload of listeners, so it's not like 10,000 people are going to say, that's brilliant, and I'm going to create them before the Potty Mouth guys do.
Well, it depends on what you consider a boatload. I know boats
how
that
big's
can't
your
fit
boat?
30 or 40 people. I know boats that can only fit like 3 people.
Have you
That's
ever
a
been on a
boatload.
cruise?
Oh, you want something that can fit on a cruise ship.
That's what I want.
Okay,
I
so
want
do you
that
want
big a load,
Titanic size cruise ship?
Oh, no,
Because
bigger.
I mean, the Titanic, it's going to be just like our podcast. It's going to sink upon arrival.
By today's standards, though, for cruise ships, the Titanic was tiny.
It was minuscule. It was
Yes.
like a puddle jumper.
Well, it's fun because they have graphics of the Titanic next to, like, one of the big Carnival boats that carry, I don't know how many thousands of passengers, but yeah, it's unbelievable the difference between the two.
So interesting. I don't know if you're into Titanic stuff, but I've watched a couple of documentaries, and they're finding out more and more as history goes on and the more research they do. They say that there was a good chance that the Titanic wouldn't necessarily have sunk or wouldn't have sunk as fast or something like that if that there was actually a boiler fire between when it first launched and when they went to Southampton, I believe.
What do you mean a boiler fire?
One of the boilers caught fire or something caught fire on the ship. No, it was the holding tanks where they have the coal caught fire and the metal got superheated on the outside. And there are some pictures that you can see of the Titanic where that you can see the metal is scorched. And they're saying, because that's exactly where the iceberg hit. They said if that fire wouldn't have happened or if they would have had it repaired beforehand, the damage from the iceberg may not have been quite as bad, which wouldn't have torn a hole so big that it flooded all the bulkheads. And the bulkheads that would have saved the ship or should have saved the ship would have been affected enough for it not to sink.
No kidding.
Yep.
Wow, that's awesome.
And there's also a lot of data that shows that if the Titanic would have hit the iceberg head on rather than trying to turn, it would have been fine too, because the first 3 or 4 bulkheads were watertight all the way up through the ship. The other ones only went up halfway.
Huh.
So if they would have only damaged that part of the ship, it would have been fine.
That is highly interesting. And I saw the, in fact, I have a book, an old school book of the Titanic, and it talks a lot about how some of the passengers and what went on, and shows pictures of a lot of pictures of the inside, and the gym is pretty fun to look at because as you can imagine, they didn't have ellipticals back then.
So. And part of that, I think, is really, really funny because, I'm going to use that picture. I'm going to post it. That's really cool.
I just sent you the picture. Yeah, the Titanic versus the cruise ship. I'm telling our listeners. I'm not telling you.
Right. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Like the listeners matter. Come on,
John.
Do.
I love our listeners.
I
know
love our
you
listeners
don't.
too.
Listeners, I'm here for you. Nick, I think, he must have other listeners that he prefers. I don't know.
It's my other podcast.
It is.
So, but anyway, what was I talking about? See, now you got
I don't
me
know. We all fell asleep. The listeners and I
I'm falling asleep too. The energy drink is wearing off.
I know.
I completely forgot.
So what was the Titanic sister ship?
Britannic, and there's another one.
There were 2 of them. Yeah.
Yeah. What was the
Olympic?
Thank you.
It wasn't fair to.
All 3 of them have sunk.
Yes.
But the Britannic the Olympic made it the longest.
Yes, it did.
Yeah, the Olympic made it the longest.
Actually, it was the first. The Olympic was the first one.
It was the first, but it survived the longest before sinking.
Correct. Yep. Awesome.
Yeah.
We're Titanic. We're going to have a Titanic podcast.
Say that again. Oh, yeah. It's going to be the Titanic podcast.
All Titanic all the time.
All of them sank.
Yes.
Just like this podcast.
We have really covered some important topics this podcast. So
we have.
Like our brilliant idea for a money-making effort, our next money-making effort. now that we have the money coming in. I mean, it's a lot of money coming in now.
Yeah, we could pay an intern.
Yeah,
an hour.
we sure could. What's your name, fella? Yeah, that's probably what it would be.
So, last question, and then I think we need to wrap it up.
What?
Yeah, I know it's that
You're
time
just
already.
getting rolling, though. I think the energy drink has finally started to kick in 4 hours after you took it.
Yeah, exactly.
Drank it.
But so each of those 3 ships had 4 funnels. How many of those funnels were operational?
Funnels? You're talking about the smokestacks? Smokestacks.
Smokestacks.
That's what they used to call them back in the old days.
They used to call them funnels.
Whatever. I called them smokestacks back in the old days.
Back in the day. Back in the old days.
when I decided not to get on the Titanic, I decided to call them smokestacks. I know there were. I shouldn't say I know. There were 4.
Yes.
On each, and I did hear this. Were 2 inoperable?
No.
They all 4 were operable. It was a trick question.
Well, technically, it is a trick question. All 4 of them were operable, but only 3 of them were smokestacks.
What
the
was
4th
the other
one? Was an intake.
But there are pictures. Okay, so which one
look it up.
Was the intake?
The rear one.
I don't know. I can't tell.
What?
I'm looking at a picture of the Britannic steaming.
Okay.
And you
should see smoke coming from 3 of them. If
it's
all the boilers were lit.
Tell. It's tough to tell.
Is it?
Yeah. You can see smoke coming. It's tough to tell.
3 were connected to the boilers, the front 3, and the rear one was an air intake.
Interesting. Very cool.
Yeah. Well, that's a little bit of useless knowledge for nobody.
We all feel a lot smarter now. I'll tell you that right away.
It was all that challenging work I had in my senior year of high school. See how I brought that all full circle?
Did you do a paper on the Titanic?
I did not.
Oh.
No. Most of my history papers were done on the Great Lakes, not on oceans. I had a whole thing of Great Lakes information we did. I don't even remember the name of it, but it was Great Lakes Environmental Action something. It was Glean.
Wow, that's just whetting my appetite to read it. That's a great title.
Yeah, well, if you want to read a high schooler's paper, I don't even know if I still have it.
But I think we could help. I think in hindsight, we should retitle it.
To what? PoddiMouths?
Well, I don't know. Let's think about it. So it could be, we could just call them The Good Lakes. Why they're not great. Something like that.
Yes. Yep.
How to make Good Lakes great.
Which one is the cleanest?
Of the Great Lakes.
Yep. Or the cleanest in 1997, which is when I did the paper.
Oh, in 97. Okay. Well, considering in 97, I think I was running a brothel.
On the Great Lakes.
I'm just kidding. On the Great Lakes. It's not Erie. It would not be Ontario, I would guess. I would say Superior.
Yes. Which one's the deepest?
Superior.
Yes. Which one's the shallowest?
Not Superior.
Correct.
You're
really good at this test.
Wow. What? Which one is the shallowest? I would guess Erie.
I don't remember. I think it's Michigan.
Oh,
but
come on.
I just wanted to see if you thought you knew. Because I don't.
No,
I used to.
You know what it's not. Yeah.
I do know what it's not. It's not Superior. I do think it is Michigan, though. I think Michigan is the shallowest overall. I think it's deeper than.
You mean the state now? That they're shallow people?
They're shallow.
In Michigan?
Very shallow.
Aha! Lake Erie is the shallowest. Spanky.
Which one is?
Lake Erie. I was right.
Okay. See, I told you I didn't really know. I just
thought. At its deepest point, Lake Erie is 210 feet.
That's not deep at all.
Well, not compared to other Great Lakes.
No. How deep is Lake Superior?
Great Lakes fact sheet. Lake Superior It is the third largest by volume. It spreads over, oh, cut it out. Pop-up window. I hate pop-up windows. It spreads over 31,700 square miles with a maximum length of 350 statute miles and breadth of 160 statute miles. Its maximum depth is 1,333 feet.
That's deep.
That is amazing.
That's some deep shit.
For an inland lake.
Inland sea.
Average depth is around 480.
Okay.
Wow. Lake Michigan is the only one which is not shared with Canada.
Now,
yeah,
all the Great Lakes have great shipwreck history.
Yes, the Edmund Fitzgerald.
Shipwreck lore. What is the most famous Lake Superior shipwreck?
Well, the Edmund Fitzgerald.
Thank you, sir.
Well, of course.
I was just wondering. That was not the most recent. Is it the most recent?
Oh, gosh, I don't know.
Probably not the most recent, but the most well-known recent one. Because that was, what, in the 70s? 60s?
Gosh, I don't know. I know that, I know that, who did the song?
I don't remember his name. Hey, Siri, when did the Edmund Fitzgerald sink? I can't even get it out.
Gordon Lightfoot did the song.
Gordon Lightfoot.
Lisa's here helping me.
Okay, I found this on the web for when did the Edmund Fitzgerald sink. I can guess it out of my mouth.
If I can, what? What did Siri say?
Siri picked up the last part of what I said. I can't even get that out of my mouth.
Wow.
Hey, Siri, when did the Edmund Fitzgerald sink?
The SS Edmund Fitzgerald sank on Monday, the 10th of November, 1975.
75.
So 70s. It was launched in 1958.
November 10th.
That's what she said.
The fateful. That's what she said.
That's what she said. I know, right?
Stop it. Gosh.
That's literally what I was thinking.
Stop. There is a Great Lakes Shipwreck Museum. There is.
It's a great museum.
Know where it is. Do you know where it is?
Are you asking me or are you asking Lisa?
It is in Paradise, Michigan, is the Great Lakes Shipwreck Museum. Paradise, Michigan, wherever that is.
We should do a live PoddiMouths. This is when we get the Potty Pod, or when Bill is done making the Potty Pod.
Yes.
Then we'll take a trip to all these different places.
Our friend Bill is doing a Potty Pod trailer, we hope, and that would be amazing because we could hook it up. Even my truck could pull it. And that would be
since you're
great.
the only one out of the two of us that has a truck, it'd probably be your truck.
But this is a good reason for you to get it cheap.
I know. I'm working on that.
I know, right?
Heretofore, whatever you had said before.
And what's the word you can't say? Come on.
I can't.
Inconceivably, wasn't it that?
No, not that. Inconceivably. All right, folks. Go up to our social media accounts, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Let us know that word that I can't say because I can't even remember the word I can't say.
Which is good because you pushed it out of your mind.
I did. That's because I can't say it.
It's like PoddiMouths is sort of like therapy for you.
It is. I've said that a number of times. Or if I haven't, I've thought it a number of times. And I'm just now saying it. We need more therapy. So
we do.
Go up to our social media accounts, leave us a message, let us know the word, or just let us know what we're doing right or doing wrong. Actually, don't let us know what we're doing wrong. We don't want to hear that.
That would take too long.
Right. Yeah, so go up to Facebook.
Be a long message.
Exactly. Go up to Facebook, facebook.com/PoddiMouths. Twitter is...
Oh, Mouse Potty.
Yeah, there you go, John.
Yay.
Man, so you tried to take it from me in the last episode, and I completely walked all over you. And then this time I gave you all the time to shine, and you bailed on me.
I didn't bail. I just wanted to give you enough time when you're editing that you could have, like 5 seconds to...
Okay, I'll tighten it up, and then I'll get rid of all this other stuff making... No, I'm not.
No, you won't. People just say, that John's so stupid. I know it's all editing.
It's all editing. Yeah. What I'm the best at. I make myself sound real smart.
I can't wait for that to start.
Yeah. So Instagram, you can find us at PoddiMouths or Eat Drink Road, eat.drink.road. And check out some of our pictures, comment, let us know what we're doing next time.
because
we don't know
what we're doing.
We'll talk a little bit more. Hey, I would be interested, in all seriousness, if any of our listeners have had children who have either gotten help a lot earlier in life or wish they would have gotten help earlier in their school years. I'm interested to hearing a little bit more about that. Let's carry on that conversation.
That was the serious part of our podcast.
That was the serious part of PoddiMouths. We can be serious once in a while.
We're not very good at it.
No, we're not. But hey, we can fake our way through it.
Yes,
well, you know what this is? We should change the name of the podcast to ADD, because that's pretty much our entire conversation every single episode. Let's start talking about this. But hey, we're going to go way over there. Squirrel! That happened on the golf course. The guy I was riding in the cart with. We were on our way to my ball, and I was saying we need to go help this person get their ball, and he literally said, "Look, there's a squirrel," and turned the cart and started chasing the squirrel.
Wow!
Yeah.
Holy cats! Okay, so the only flash I had there while you were telling that, we were on the way to my ball. This is you in a Cinderella dress, and yeah, so that's what I'm seeing. We were on the way to my ball. You were on a
okay, gotcha.
Looked like a pumpkin.
I thought you were on. See, that's what I was thinking when you said that. I thought you were talking about you were on the way to your ball.
No,
I'm like, when did you become Cinderella?
Oh my gosh. It's a good thing we're at the end.
Yeah, it really is. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody. Thanks, Nick.
Thanks, John. Talk to you soon.